7 months and 11 races behind us, the 2015 Red Bull Global Rallycross Championship will be decided tonight. For some, a shot at the championship is a complicated mathematical scenario based mostly on chance. The chance they will drive the perfect race. Slim chance of that happening. And all bets are off for a repeat from last year's champion, Yoni Veman, and runner-up Ken Block. But here in Las Vegas, the odds are stacking up for two drivers who have dominated the podium all season long. With one race remaining, Tanner Faust and Scott Speed are the odds-on favourites. Who will Lady Luck shine on tonight? Who will be the 2015 champion? We're about to find out. The Red Bull Global Rallycross Championship, live from Las Vegas, starts now. Which way will the dice roll? Good evening and welcome here to Las Vegas. We are positioned right on the side of the strip going through town because this is going to be a show not to miss. The finale of the 2015 Red Bull Global Rallycross Championship is about to take place right behind us here in Las Vegas. My name is Toby Moody, Ricky Johnson alongside me. Ricky, we've both seen some history in motorsport on 2 wheels, on 4 wheels. We're going to see some history behind us tonight.
The guys for the past 2 days have been driving on clean tarmac, sand, and dirt. But now, as you see behind me, the tarmac is very shiny. The dirt is now mud, so the setup is completely thrown out, and the drivers have also gone to groove tires. So some of these drivers, including 1 and 2 in points in GRC, are driving cars that have never raced in the rain. They may have tested in the rain, but now they have to race.
Wherever you are around the world, keep in touch with us through Twitter, through Instagram or Facebook with the hashtag RedBullGRC. We'll be interested to hear what you think about what you're about to see tonight. But what exactly is Red Bull Global Rallycross all about? Let's take a look. It's all about fast cars that are initially starting out as production cars, but soon they're modified by the major manufacturers, whether or not they be from VW, Ford or Subaru. Everything is upgraded to big racing specification. But then again, the weight is taken out of the car.
Exactly. Everything is light. Everything that you know about your car, this is it on steroids and supercharged. It's turbocharged vehicles, very fast like rocket skates. It's like holding dynamite in your hand. 0 to 60 in less than 2 seconds.
It's fast once the racing gets underway. 600 horsepower underneath a driver's foot. Everything can go wrong, and sometimes does. By the time they get to the first corner, they rev out at 8,500 revs and can hit a top speed of 130 miles an hour.
And they're racing on every kind of surface that you can imagine. Tarmac, sand, mud, and also in the air. So everything they do at full tilt.
Everything is all about the speed, but there's also one element to Red Bull GRC that is something very different. Okay then, now we've got our first race here in Las Vegas coming up. The first of our semi-finals with Nelson Piquet Jr. on the front row with Yoni Veman, the reigning champion. He's just got a few more hours left as that. Patrick Sandell alongside him. Row 2 with Arpin, Lassick and Austin Dine. And then Sverre Isaksson on the back row on row 3 with the Subaru teammate to Bucky Lassick. So it is the Fords versus the Subarus here in this first semi-final. Nelson Piquet Jr., he's won already this year. So has Patrick Sandell, but the others are still yet to stand on the top step of the podium in 2015. And incredibly, still, Yoni Veman has yet to win a Global Rallycross final.
After being so dominant and winning every event in the Lights program, now in the GRC, he has not won yet.
We're underway, the green lights are on, people struggling for traction off the line. Looks like Nelson Piquet Jr. has got a brilliant start as he goes into the first corner. He has got Patrick Sandell trying to go around the outside. Sandell, the Swede, slides it all the way round into turn 2, but up on the inside is a fellow Scandinavian, it's the Finnish driver. It is Joni Wieman who comes through to second position. So it is a Brazilian from a Finn, from a Swede, or is it? As Sandell barges past Wieman as we are ready onto the dirt.
And if it was the second lap, one of them could take the Joker lane, but they can't. They all have to take the big jump this first lap. That's why they're fighting so hard, because they do not want to get roosted and fill their windshields full of mud.
It is a battle of the Vikings in there for second, third, and fourth. We have got a Swede, a Finn, and a Norwegian, but it's the Brazilian, Nelson Piquet Jr., who leads this race. Terribly wet conditions, struggling for grip, windshields covered in muck already, and those wipers working overtime.
Well, Patrick and Wyman, both drivers are those guys that have driven in the snow and the ice, but when it comes to Piquet, he's also done the open wheel stuff in the rain, and it seems like he's got the advantage on the tarmac, where he's got a very, very fast roll. We see Steve Arpin have to go for a stop and go, but a lot of bump and go for second place.
So as Joni Wieman gets past again up in the second position ahead of Patrick Sandell. Sandell in the number 18 grey and white car, a former junior world rally champion, so he is totally at home in these kind of conditions. We're riding on board with the Swede.
Now what's going to happen with the Joker lane? Here we see both 1 and 2 take the Joker lane, but Patrick does not take it. Now will he lose a spot and go back to fourth, or can he hold on to third? We'll soon find out.
Big drift around that tight left-hander for Nelson Piquet Jr., the reigning Formula E world champion. But here he is in something completely different, and he is on top form. There goes Isaksson through your shot. There is Sandell. Then there is Bucky Lasik, many times a gold medalist at the X Games. And Bucky Lasik still knocking on the door of his first GRC final victory.
Sandell does a lot of ice racing, and he also does a driving school over in Sweden, a whole driving experience, but he did not take the Joker lane that time and lost another position. So top 3 make it to the main event. So let's look for Sandell to take that Joker line.
6 laps in this race. We are already halfway around the third lap. And still Nelson Piquet Jr. during practice and the heats, Ricky, has been so confident with this car, and likewise Wieman is joining him.
But I'm so impressed with Piquet right now, because he's sliding so hard, a little bit close to the edge right there, but I love the way an open wheel guy is sliding and just totally having a great time, because I'm a dirt guy, I love it when they're sideways.
Nelson Piquet Jr., his father, a 3-time Formula One world champion, 81, 83 and 87, and here is his son making his own name for himself. A brilliant driver in F3, then in GP2, did the Nationwide Series as well, and look at this supreme car control in anything he jumps into, but Wieman still knocking on the door of leading and winning this race.
Unfortunately, both of these drivers have already taken the Joker line, so Joni has to find a way around him cleanly on open track.
Car's completely covered in dirt here in Las Vegas.
The two driving styles, it would be the opposite of what I would think. Piquet very sideways, and Wieman very, very stable and not slide, not drifting so much, but they are similar cars, but they're set up different, obviously.
Totally different in the drive. Wieman's car, the car in second position, has got an awful lot of suspension travel to it, an awful lot of absolute grip from the 4-wheel drive, 600 plus horsepower of the Ford Fiesta, and a slightly different setup, as you say, for Nelson Piquet Jr. First and second in this race, we are keeping our eyes on. The man in third position at the moment is Sverre Isaksson, the Norwegian, who's had such bad luck throughout this year, and he is looking to guarantee himself a place in the final.
We see a little seesaw back and forth.
And just as I say it, commentators cursed. I don't believe it. I'm so sorry, Sverre Isaksson. I say he's got a place in the final, and he puts it in the wall.
Such a tough drive, because he was driving so fast. Great showing by Subaru with this driver, but he's not going to make it today.
That is a completely trashed car, and they might struggle to get that ready even for the LCQ later. That now means, by my quick arithmetic, that Patrick Sandell is up to third position, but he is battling with Bucky Lasik in the other Subaru. Okay then, back with the leaders. Can we have any more drama? Yes, we will.
I can guarantee you we'll see plenty of drama. But one of the things that they were talking about spotting is that the spotter is the eyes in the back of your head. When you're a driver, you look forward and you focus forward, and your spotter lets you know. Now, how you use that information is up to you. Do you use it to block him or to keep from running into him, or maybe both?
White flag, one more lap to go here in this semi-final. It is still Nelson Piquet Jr. who rushes behind us. They've got, I think, the best wipers possible for the windshield of Joni Veeman, who's still hustling, badgering like a real terrier right behind the rear bumper of Nelson Piquet Jr. But I just don't think there's a way through unless Piquet Jr. makes just a little bit of a mistake and he leaves the door open.
Well, Toby, be careful with what you say because you've already jinxed one guy tonight. So right now, Piquet just has to focus and run his line. But Wyman sticks his nose on the inside if he pushes his way through.
And he
does. He gets by. He pushes his way through.
I'm not saying anything else. I'm not saying anything else. I'm just going to let them race it their own way. My goodness me, with half a lap to go, the 2014 Red Bull Global Rallycross champion, Joni Veeman, has edged his way past and ahead of Nelson Piquet Jr. The pair of them would have already gone through to the final, but it's all about which position you start on the grid, and that now means that Joni Veeman has got a better choice of position with that manoeuvre on the last lap. Second goes to Piquet Jr., and this is a battle. Is this Steve Arpin battling? And Steve Arpin, who had a stop-go penalty on the very first lap, comes over the line in third position. The Canadian cowboy has done it ahead of Patrick Sandell, and then Bucky Lasik in the Subaru. My goodness me, where did Arpin find the speed?
Well, he's been talking about how much he wants to race in the rain. Well, guess what, Steve Arpin? You did a great job. Congratulations. That is awesome, from the back to third place.
He had a brilliant run there. So then, Joni Veeman, Nelson Piquet Jr. and Steve Arpin have guaranteed their position on the grid for the final here in Las Vegas later this evening. On the front row, Sebastian Eriksson with Brian Deegan and Scott Speed, our championship leader. Can Tanner Faust get that lead away from Scott Speed by the end of the night? Well, Tanner is on the second row. Alongside him, Ken Block and then David Higgins, this year's USA Rally champion. Pat Morrow with his Chevy is at the rear on row 3 in the number 59 car. He had a great start in one of the earlier heats, but then got boxed out by the time he got down to turn 2. Eriksson, he's lightning fast off the line. Keep an eye out for him. He is front left as we look at it. He's the one with the yellow spoiler, then Deegan, and then Scott Speed on the extreme right-hand side. That is a view of the two Volkswagen Beetles. There'll be some nerves in there.
Exactly, but what we've seen is that the Volkswagens have been faster on the dry, but the Ford's faster in the wet. But now that the course is starting to dry out and the guys are getting more comfortable with the wet, so let's see what these two cars do.
We're underway as the lights go green. Eriksson's getting swamped. Is that Tanner Faust who's going to manage to get past him? Oh no, it's going to be Scott Speed who leads into the first corner. Lots of bumping and boring. It's Ken Block who comes through. It's going to be the two VWs who are first and second, and nobody wants to be in third position. As they all come round, somebody's going to have to go into the wall if they're not careful. But Block gets third.
Third at this point, but as we've talked about, you've been jinxing everybody. These guys are going back and forth, a lot of rough driving, and they will tear these vehicles up. They got to play a little bit nicer. But right now, that was an awesome job by Tanner Faust, coming from the second row all the way up into first at one point, but now the two teammates that are fighting for this championship are 1 and 2.
So then Scott Speed leads with the blue VW Beetle. Then his teammate Tanner Faust next up. Ken Block, is he a little bit cautious? Eriksson, who we're riding on board with, we're in 4th place, is right on the tail of Ken Block, and you've got to believe that Eriksson is quicker than Block at the moment.
Well, you see Ken Block pushing a little bit. We saw how bad that his car got smashed, but now he gets pushed back from 3rd to 4th place. But I have to give the mechanic of the weekend to the Hoonigan crowd because they put that car back together. But we see Ken Block going back another position.
So Ken Block has gone from 3rd to 4th to 5th in just a couple of corners. It doesn't look as if... Oh, he's got a puncture!
Yeah.
He's got a flat front left, Ricky, and there's no way you can be anything like being competitive with a flat like that.
Well, it's starting to shred and come apart, and you can see that Ken is struggling really bad. A tough break for him. We've seen him do so many things in these cars from all of his videos and stuff like that. And he's awesome at car handling, but you need all 4 tires.
Now the Joker lap has been taken by Scott Speed, so he's on a shorter distance. He is way ahead of the rest of the field, which is next up with his teammate. But here comes the 22-year-old Sebastian Eriksson.
Sebastian Eriksson, and also Brian Deegan. Deegan does a lot of different things. He runs off-road, he ran motocross, ran supercross, and also freestyle. So he's adapting very fast to this mud and rain.
Now there is a stop-go penalty for Brian Deegan. Why has he been given a stop-go? Was that for aggressive driving? Did he jump the start? Well,
we'll find out, but I think it was the contact with Ken Block that down Ken Block suffered that flat, but it took Ken Block out of the race. I don't really think it was intentional on Deegan's part. It's just rubbing his racing at this point.
Now, Deegan did jump the start. We're hearing from race control as Ken Block continues on the rim with his Hoonigan Ford Fiesta. And for the last 2 weekends here in Red Bull Global Rallycross, everything seems to have gone wrong for the crew, but they will be back and they will be fighting, as always, next season. The glow from the red-hot exhaust of 600-plus horsepower comes through these cars. You can see when we get a rear shot, but there's nothing he can do with a flat.
Yeah, he's down to the rim on the left side, so with 3 wheels, it's not going to work. Scott Speed out in front, and I'll bet if we took a little vitals on Michael Andretti right now with his team 1 and 2, probably dropped a couple points on his cholesterol and everything. A little more relaxed for the Andretti crew.
Heart rate up.
Stress everything down, but I think that they're starting to figure this out, because we saw earlier that Eriksson and also Vehman were a little bit faster in the mud, but it looks like Scott Speed, being the champion that he is, also in Tanner Faust, who drives everything, are not just having fun, but they're going faster and faster every lap.
Well, for Scott Speed, he's already won 2 finals this year. We've yet to get to the final here in Las Vegas tonight, but as he goes up another gear, as you can see on the left-hand side, up a gear with that right hand, up a gear, and then he pushes the sequential shift away twice to go down a couple of gears. Again, another gear he goes down in this perfectly crafted VW Beetle. They've gone up to 2 litres turbocharged engine this year. They had a fly-by-wire throttle, but then they went back to a mechanical throttle in Los Angeles, and that meant that they had 100 pounds of ballast as penalty taken away from the car, and then the car really did come alive. And it's been just so dominant ever since through LA and onwards. Here we go for the battle for second position. That is Sebastian Eriksson with the Ford Fiesta chasing the yellow VW Beetle of Tanner Faust.
Both of these drivers have won this year, and they also want to put another one on the block. So right now they're going to fight so hard. Even though they're both in qualifying position, you want to fight. Now here we see Eriksson going for the Joker lane, which is going to be key. That's going to put him probably in a comfortable second place. But has Tanner Faust taken the Joker lane yet?
Tanner Faust has taken the Joker, Ricky, so he will be dropping a little bit further back. So that is Joni Vehman. Has he got some suspension failure front right, or is it just the bodywork that's deceiving me? I also think it's the latter.
I think it's cosmetic. As you can hear, the wind is starting to blow here in Vegas. It is pretty wild out there, not just on the track, but also in the stands. So we got the white flag out. Scott Speed with 1 more lap to make it into the main.
1 more lap of this 0.8 mile circuit. There is Tanner Faust still in 3rd position. Wipers going. Will he be able to catch up Eriksson? I don't think that's going to happen. Tanner needs to just make sure that the car is in the final so that he's got the opportunity to try and close that 36-point gap to his teammate Scott Speed come the flag at the end of the 10-lap final. This is a 6-lap semi-final. Tanner Faust working away hard on the wheel on the left-hand side.
Yep, running that Max Pappas wheel. You see that trademark Dayglow orange band, so the drivers know which way is straight. But Tanner Faust running smooth, and now I think saving his equipment because he knows that he has nothing for Eriksson to catch him for second place.
Don't risk the car. Don't risk putting it in the wall. They are nearly just over 9,000 pounds, these concrete blocks that are on the edge of the racetrack, nearly 4 tons in weight, and you don't want to hit them because they will always win. But the winner here in this semi has been Scott Speed ahead of Sebastian Eriksson. It is a VW winning ahead of a Ford and then a Volkswagen in third position. So guaranteed here in Vegas, we've got the 2 Volkswagen Beetles already in the final for the very last race in the 2015 Red Bull Global Rallycross Championship. Here we are in downtown Vegas on the strip, and Scott Speed has gone through with Eriksson and Tanner Faust. On the grid for our LCQ, Brian Deegan is on the front row with Bucky Lasik, a Ford Fiesta and a Subaru WRX STI. Then Pat Morrow and Austin Dine, Ken Block in the LCQ, and then David Higgins in his Subaru. So then, just to remind you what the LCQ is, it's going to be taking place over 4 laps, and the top 4 guys over the line will then go into the final. So 2 guys here are going to be going straight back to the pits and then straight back home. It started to rain again, Ricky. These are very difficult conditions, as if we're actually rallying in the forest.
Exactly, and you know what? Ken Block had a lot of time over in Europe. Brian Deegan has dealt with the mud, and Eriksson has also, a lot of these guys have raced in the snow, so they're used to this, but right now it's a completely different surface.
Here we go, 4 laps about to get underway. With the green light, we are underway. Keep an eye out for David Higgins. He's on the extreme left-hand side. Oh, and there's contact immediately. That then is Bucky Lasik, who leads into the first corner. Brian Deegan in second place with the back Ford Fiesta. Sideways goes the Subaru. And Pat Morrow gets punted into a spin by David Higgins. And they go into the wall. Austin Dine, Ken Block and Higgins hit again. And I think that David Higgins might have lost a front right wheel. Ken Block can do nothing right here in Vegas. The dice have rolled always the wrong way.
Yeah, I'm not going to say it was Ken Block's fault, but he has been in the bad place every time, and you can see his car is completely... So we've red flagged this event, so right now we got to rack them and restack them and rack them. So here we watch as they come around, they can't see, they drive over the top of each other, and next thing you know, guys are into the wall and backwards.
Oh, and then when Morrow came round, he then went into the side of Austin Dine. So Lasik was leading, it was his. David Higgins went up the side of Pat Morrow with the orange Dirtfish car. Dine had nowhere to go, and then Morrow, who was spinning, then hit Block, who then got kicked into the side of David Higgins' Subaru.
Toby, tell me that.
So then, they're back on the grids, and they are reformed. Well, not Ken Block's Ford Fiesta. It looks all a bit battered still. It looks like Pat Morrow and David Higgins are going to be unable to restart as the 5 red lights come on here in Las Vegas. Who's going to get the whole shot in this LCQ? We go green. Oh, look at Deegan. Look at Deegan. Look at him barreling through. What a great start. Sorry, it's Austin Dine, apologies. Austin Dine who goes through. Brian Deegan on the right-hand side. Everybody's slithering sideways to try and get some traction in these terribly slippery conditions. But in the end, it's the Ford Fiestas that dominate ahead of the Subaru at the moment. Oh!
Austin Dine with a phenomenal start from the back row to the front, but now Brian Deegan sticks it in on the inside and makes the pass. Does he? Oh! A little bit bumping and grinding, but no blood, no foul. So Brian Deegan out in front with Austin Dine in second.
That's it. There's Ken Block in 4th position. Flames shooting from the exhaust of Bucky Lasik's works Subaru, built in Vermont by Vermont Sports Cars. A real spectacular sight that we're seeing here in the darkness. It's like being in the forests for me back home in the UK when I used to watch Colin McRae going through the night. Spectacular rallying.
Well, the weather here is a lot like England, Toby, so I don't know if I should hug you or punch you for bringing this weather over here. But now let's see if the officials give Brian Deegan a black flag, because that was a pretty rough. Oh, Bucky Lasik very, very sideways coming around the finish line, but no black flag for Brian Deegan.
So then, top 4 will advance, and we've only got 4 cars in this race as Ken Block is struggling for traction. I think maybe the suspension is damaged or maybe the steering is damaged, so where he points the wheel, the car is struggling to go.
Well, I mean, the car is not 100% after that big crash in the first heat. Here we see Bucky Lasik completely sideways, running very, very strong, but Ken Block's car, he's doing the best he can, but I have to give it to the Hoonigan Racing guys. They got the thing back together, and it's back on track, and right now it's going to make it into the main event here in Las Vegas.
Bucky Lasik Subaru is all over the shop. He's hardly driving sideways. He's going to have to put windscreen wipers on the side window so that he can see where he's going, Ricky.
Well, you know what? He's having fun. I think Bucky is now going, you know what? I'm having a great time. I'm in qualifying position. Let's go drive this thing and see what I can do. I got 4 wheels pulling me. Let's drive the heck out of it. And he's doing an awesome job. It's great to see somebody like Bucky Lasik, or anybody for that matter, out there driving and having a great time.
As they come through the murk, the car's completely covered in mud. When I was on one of the rallies in the forest some years ago, one of the French World Rally Championship drivers got out and he said, "The brown snow is what it is, covering these cars with the rain that we have got here in Las Vegas." Very uncharacteristic, but it's giving us some great drifting.
Here we see Bucky Lasik. Oh, he decided he made a big mistake. He probably should have held off on the Joker lane that time, but he took it. He's now behind Brian Deegan, but I love what I'm seeing out of Bucky Lasik, and it's a more aggressive driving, and he's actually finding the limits of the car much better. So great job by Bucky Lasik.
Still leading is Brian Deegan from Austin Dine, and Ken Block is struggling to get the thing going. You can see that big blue tube that'll be connected to essentially a heater blower system in the car to try and keep the windscreen from misting up, but no problems at all for Brian Deegan, Mr. Metal Militia. He is loving it. He can see exactly where he's going for the win.
Exactly, going to the main event as well. But, you know, he realized that right now he's learning as he's out there, because he has to give feedback to the engineer, to his mechanics. What do I want to do? Do I want the car a little bit softer, a little stiffer? Because sometimes a car that doesn't have as much traction is easier to drive. It breaks loose easier, and even though you slide more, it's more of a predictable car than something that's really tacky and on edge the whole time. But right now, Brian Deegan seems to be getting faster and faster as the night goes on.
Popping and banging on the overrun when his foot is off the throttle. You can see the enormous flames coming out of the rear of the Ford Fiesta. You can see the glowing exhaust pipe. It is red hot, literally. As a little bit of unburned fuel is making its way through the exhaust, and it's like a fireworks show here in Las Vegas. But Brian Deegan wins the LCQ. He takes the checkered flag. He'll be very happy with that driving experience and win that he has just taken ahead of Austin Dine. Lasik gets third.
But this is one of those races that when you're in it, you're like, oh, I'm frustrated, it's money I can't see. But you will talk about this race for the rest of your life, because you have to push yourself as a driver beyond vision, beyond control. You're completely backwards, you're driving all completely out of control, and you have to save it. So it's one of those fights that will make you a better person as a driver.
And here is Ken Block leading this year's Red Bull Global Rallycross Championship from the very first round in late May in Fort Lauderdale in Florida. He took the victory there that day ahead of Scott Speed and Nelson Piquet Jr., but he led the championship all the way through to Barbados just 3-4 weeks ago. But unfortunately, he had some bad luck, some moments, a roll in Barbados in the Caribbean, and then he's had some bad luck here today, and he is not going to put his hand on the winner's trophy, unfortunately, in 2015. But he'll be back next year. They're on the grid, they're all lined up as these 10 cars are preparing. Scott Speed on the pole position, the championship leader ahead of Joni Wiemann. Sebastian Eriksson on the outside of row 1, then row 2, Nelson Piquet Jr. Oh, he's gone well so far here tonight, hasn't he? Steve Arpin, gone well as well. Tanner Faust, gone well all year. Brian Deegan, demon starter. Austin Dine, looking for his first victory. Bucky Lasik, looking for something to prove for Subaru. And then Ken Block, who's had, well, just an escapade here tonight in Las Vegas with his Ford Fiesta. So 10 cars all lining up down there on the grids. There's a bit of tension inside that VW Beetle. Well, the pair of them, the blue one and the yellow one, you got to believe, Ricky.
Well, you gotta understand that there's so much that can happen. But let's go down to Will and see what's going on.
The atmosphere down here at the grid, as you can imagine, is absolutely unbelievable because this is it, the final race of the 2015 season. As you can see, all the guys are ready to go here. I've been talking to all of them. They're all talking about being aggressive in certain areas, but in other areas of racing, they say they've got to play conservative. At this point, Scott Speed can't at all afford to be dangerous out here. Michael Andretti said to us that he needs to drive a conservative race so that he can make sure he secures this championship win. It's really going to be quite exciting. Guys, which way is this going to go? We're about to find out in just a few minutes.
Scott Speed has taken 7 global rallycross wins in finals. He is level pegging at the top of the overall table with Tanner Faust for overall victories. Scott Speed, the first driver ever to win a double header in GRC. Can he wrap up the title? Will it be Speed? Will it be Faust? We're about to find out here in Las Vegas. We're underway. Speed on the left-hand side. He's got a clear view down to turn 1. It's going to be Tanner Faust who kicks the back of Joni Wieman. Tanner Faust gets sideways. He's completely... Tanner Faust is in the barrier. He might have got away with it. He might have got away with it.
Well, he definitely did a lot of damage, and who he does not want up front is Scott Speed. He's got clean air, and now you see Tanner Faust trying to work his way back up. Brian Deegan taking a look on the inside, but it's not going to happen right now for Tanner Faust. He's getting pushed around, and he's in a lot of traffic.
Ken Block from the back of the grid. Is he 4th? How did he do that? As he's coming into the left-hander, Steve Arpin goes through. Somebody's gone straight on. That's PK Jr. Ken Block's door has come open. Can anything else happen? Oh, yes, it will.
Remember what we talked about earlier. You've been jinxing a lot of different guys, so do not say what else can happen, because as you said, anything can. So tough break for Nelson Piquet Jr.
So then around the right-hander we go. Still leading is going to be Joni Wieman ahead of Scott Speed. And then it is Sebastian Eriksson. So it's Ford Fiesta from Volkswagen Beetle from the Ford Fiesta of the Swede there in 3rd position. But at the moment, Scott Speed is in a championship taking position.
Exactly. What he needs to do is just maintain that, and he's probably not going to fight really hard for it until later on. But it's going to be interesting to see if Wieman goes for the Joker lap, the first lap, to try to get out in front, which I think he will, and yes, he does. Both drivers take the Joker to try to break away from the rest of the field.
Look at the eyes down there of Scott Speed inside that Volkswagen. Eyes like an eagle in a Beetle, one could say.
Arpin now in 3rd place. He's worked his way past Eriksson. So now we have 2 drivers in. We got Ford, Volkswagen, and Ford.
Okay, then there is Steve Arpin. What a brilliant run he had earlier here this evening. But it is still Wieman who leads this race ahead of Speed by 1.5 seconds. Sebastian Eriksson yet to take the Joker because Arpin has, and therefore Arpin is up to 3rd position. He's just in shot. There is Scott Speed. Oh, he's tentative as he turns into the right-hander.
Yeah, tentative. It may look like he's tentative, but he's running around on a ice skating or a mud skating rink, and he's doing a very good job. So Scott Sharp is very smart, very smooth driver, and I don't think he's going to take any big chances. But both of these drivers have taken the Joker lane. Now they just have to be smooth and consistent in clean air.
So as Scott Speed comes over the jump, lands with perfect precision. The Volkswagen crew with Andretti RallyCross, they worked in conjunction with Wolfsburg in Germany, which is the headquarters of Volkswagen and their entire rallycross project that is the world over. And is that a position that he has lost to Sebastian Eriksson? So it is a 1-2 at the moment for the Olsberg's MSE squad. Wieman and Eriksson. Speed is 3rd.
What you're watching now, people, is Scott Speed going for a championship. He's being very smart. The old saying, the young bull and the old bull right now is doing everything he can to win this championship, because that's what they'll remember. But what's awesome is that Wieman has never won a race, and right now he's looking very good.
He certainly is. The young Finn, Scott Speed, slithers his way around the left-hander. His arch rival, Tanner Faust, he's back down in 9th position by our timing and scoring. So at the moment, the title going to the man who lives in North Carolina, Scott Speed. Around the left-hander he goes once more. Look at the concentration. You can feel the tension inside that car, Ricky.
Exactly. When you're in this position, that's what I said earlier, that I would rather be in a position where I had to go all out and win, because this is going to be the longest race of his career, because he's listening for all of these little gremlins. Is the car working? Is anything coming wrong? I got to just keep moving. And so right now he's just going, where's the white flag? Where's the white flag? But Scott Speed is doing an awesome job.
And also he's going to be listening to his spotter like the one that Will spoke to at the beginning of the program, listening to what the spotter, who is high up above this 0.8-mile racetrack with a bird's eye view of what is going on, what's best, what's good. If you have to battle somebody, there's no point in fighting somebody, as you say, unless you really want to take a bit of a risk.
Well, right now, you know, the people over at Andretti Motorsports obviously did a great job doing their homework, and they knew what they had to do. And Scott Speed did the right thing, be aggressive on that start and try to get up towards the front. But right now, he's doing everything that he needs to do to bring home the championship.
5.5 laps to go. Veman from Ericsson. That's just over 4 seconds, the difference between them. There is Joni Veman, the young Finn. And unlike the older generation of Finnish rally drivers, he's opted to go into the world of rallycross rather than go into the forests or the tarmac roads of the World Rally Championship. It's a religion in Finland, you know, driving quickly off-road. They call it the Finnish Grand Prix, the Thousand Lakes Rally, the Rally Finland that's part of the World Rally Championship. Matti Latvala won it this year. I was there to see it, and he was a god. He was a total god of Finn winning in Finland. But this guy here is taking Finland to another level, not just in Formula One and in rallying, but in rallycross.
Well, and then that's the thing. He's not just out there representing himself and Red Bull and Osberg. He's out there representing his country and everybody. So to be a winner in this global rallycross and to bring that, if he can bring this win home, it's going to be awesome for his career and his country.
Scott Speed continues up the gearbox, down the gearbox with that right glove on the shifter. Sequential gearbox inside this Volkswagen Beetle as he turns it into the right-hander once more. We're at the halfway point of the final.
But what's amazing is how well Veman is doing. He's got a 4.9-second lead over Ericsson and a 7.2-second lead over Scott Speed. So Scott Speed is in a very comfortable position. Steve Arpin is about 3 seconds behind him as well. So for the first time, we've seen a spread-out, clean race at this moment.
There is Steve Arpin from Canada with his Enios car, and he 3 seconds back of Scott Speed. Might he be able to catch him in these last 4 laps? Oh, it's touch and go, but Arpin might get the red rag in front of that screen and see if he can hone in on the target ahead.
We saw Arpin make up a lot of time later on in the earlier races, so you know, maybe he's not saving anything, because I've driven these cars. It's like a bar fight. It's just 100% from the green flag to the checkered flag. So there's no holding back or pacing yourself or saving your tires when it comes to GRC with these supercars. You just go 100% the whole time.
So then Scott Speed utilizing all of his go-karting experience, his Formula One experience. He came then back to America after his Formula One experience, did some NASCAR stuff, and here he is in Red Bull Global Rallycross and on the verge of a title in just literally another 2.5 miles time.
And he's now caught Sebastian Ericsson, so he sat back for a while and he got comfortable, and now he's like, okay, time to take the gloves off and let's get something done. So he's catching Sebastian Ericsson. He was 2 seconds down, now he's just 1.5 seconds behind him.
We're riding on board with Speed. On the right-hand side, you can see Ericsson in front. Has Ericsson overcooked it? Is he struggling? Speed has edged his way closer and closer. He's learned this racetrack. He knows where there's grip and he knows where it's slippery.
Well, I'm watching the two different drivers, and the difference in style is it looks like Ericsson is driving much more aggressive, and he's sliding, moving, breaking traction, but I'm noticing that Scott Speed is very, very smooth, and where he learned some of that is from stock car racing. One of the hardest things for a driver to learn is the art of the coast, the art of the glide through the corner, and in stock car racing is the key to victory, and I think that Scott Speed is taking some of that knowledge here in GRC.
Speed is never going to concede over these last couple of miles here in this entire championship. This is the 8th weekend, the 8th time we have all got together. We started in Florida, then we went to Daytona, and then we went to New River in North Carolina as the team boss looks on. Michael Andretti, another lap to go for his driver.
Well, just imagine what the Andretti family has done, from Michael racing in Indy, racing in Formula One, Mario, Formula One stock cars, John Andretti. The whole Andretti legacy is so unbelievable. I've had the opportunity and the pleasure to meet them before and hang out with them a little bit, and it's just awesome. And now to see Michael come into a completely new sport and now be a champion, my hat's off to him.
White flag being waved as the last mile of the 2015 championship is now underway. Leading is still Joni Wiemann. He has an enormous lead, but we're going to focus on Scott Speed and the entire Volkswagen Andretti Rallycross crew. As you say, legends in the sport, the Andretti name known the world over. But here they are, just about to win the Red Bull Global Rallycross Championship.
The longest lap in Scott Speed's 2015 season is right now. All he wants to do is keep this car rolling to victory and win this championship.
Scott Speed gets the needle threaded as he comes down this sort of middle straight. He's in the last part of the year.
I've loved watching Scott the whole season, because you look at him, he's just relaxed. He's in the office, and we see Tanner Faust off to the side.
So that is guaranteed for Scott Speed, who's going to come out of the final corner. He is famous in Vegas. Scott Speed wins in 2015 the Red Bull Global Rallycross Championship. Volkswagen have won the manufacturers, but it's Scott Speed who is the supercar champion in the 2015 Red Bull Global Rallycross, and Andretti Rallycross winning the title. A clean sweep for Scott Speed and the crew here in 2015, and look how he has reacted inside the car. What a feeling. What must he be thinking at the moment?
Well, you could just see him pounding on the steering wheel and the emotion, because he's what I liked about Scott all season long is he hasn't showed a lot of emotion. Very calm, very smooth, but you can see how much this championship means to him, because he knows he's battled all year long. They had adversity at the beginning of the season with the cars breaking. To bring this championship to Volkswagen and to Andretti Motorsports has got to mean a lot to him.
Yes, and don't underestimate how important winning at X Games was for Volkswagen and Scott Speed, and also now this 2015 Red Bull Global Rallycross Championship for the board of the Volkswagen Group. There is a winner. He is the champion for 2015. Scott Speed has done it. And as the crew celebrate down there, Michael Andretti, well, I think that's more a face of relief.
Yes, exactly.
as he is preparing to meet his driver in a few minutes' time. What tension throughout the season. Ken Block, who dominated the early part of the year, then it was the fight back, as you say, Ricky, of the Volkswagens, of the Beetles, and eventually the title says Scott Speed, 2015 champion.
But I want to make sure that we do not take anything away from Joni Wiemann, because he has finally won. I know as a driver, when you move up in a category and you don't win, you think you're snake bit. Have I reached my peak? Was I just a lights driver? Now he showed them, because he dominated this race. He was 7.9 seconds ahead of second place, so he put it to him. Well deserved for him and the whole Olsberg team. So 1, 2, and 3.
It is a 1-2 for the Olsberg squad. Andreas Eriksson, the team boss, pretty handy driver himself, will be over the moon. So Eriksson has had a victory this year. He had a win at Daytona, and now Joni Wiemann has had a victory here in Las Vegas. So that now means out of 12 races, we have had 7 separate winners of a GRC final. There is a competitive field.
Exactly. It's not just one guy or 2 guys sweeping or one team. We've seen victories from everybody, but it was the championship team effort of the Volkswagen team and Andretti and these guys right there. Scott Speed, you can just see how happy he is and how ecstatic, because when you win a championship, that's what it's all about.
And how long was the wait from Barbados 3 weekends ago to now? It must have seemed like an entire year he had to wait before he wrapped it up just a few moments ago. There is a champion, a massive smile on Scott Speed's face, and now the party can really kick off here in Las Vegas. Engineers, team crew, mechanics, team bosses, Volkswagen USA can all come and celebrate down there with Scott Speed.